And showtime, ladies and gentlemen, giving you one more reason to hide out from the kids just a little bit longer. Welcome to the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. I'm also one of your co-hosts on this program. I am joined this week, as every week, by my co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how's it going?
Going great, Rich. I'm doing everything I can to focus on work and, not get distracted by Tiger King this week.
I have not checked this out yet, but I'm going to have to do that soon because the buzz is just getting too loud.
What a train wreck it is in all its glory, too. You cannot stop watching.
Well, I will check it out. This is what everybody needs right now, is the thing that they cannot stop watching. So yeah, I will definitely look into that. And you know what? Here's an interesting segue. The reason we're all looking for something to stream that is compulsively watchable is, of course, because we're all locked indoors thanks to the coronavirus. And thanks to that fact, business is coming to a crashing halt, sadly, across the country right now. Creating a cash flow shortage, not just for IT providers, but obviously for the end users those IT providers serve. Now, last week on this show, we were talking about some finance offers that Ingram Micro put together. And, D&H has done stuff like that too. Other distributors have done that. We're sort of continuing that conversation a little bit this week on the show because we're going to be talking about some measures that Lenovo put into place. And the thinking is exactly the same, basically. If cash is king, and cash is a little bit short right now, what can these big companies do to make it easier for partners to keep business flowing, to make it easier for end users that need technology right now, especially if they're equipping people to work from home, to go ahead and make those purchases, even though everyone is very short on cash at the moment. And so what Lenovo did is announce what they're calling a partner stimulus package. And it's a number of different things that they put into effect. So first of all, for example, they are suspending their normal partner compensation scheme. Normally they have a plan that's driven around growth targets that determines how much they're going to pay each of their partners each quarter. They are not canceling that outright, but at least for this next 3 months, the first quarter of Lenovo's current fiscal year, they're suspending that. They're replacing it with a flat rate plan that is going to be much easier to manage. It's going to be a lot more predictable for partners. So if you want to know how much money you're going to be getting from Lenovo down the road, it's going to be a lot easier to predict that. And because it's easier to make the calculations, it's all flat rate, Lenovo's actually going to be able to get that money to you in something more like 30 days as opposed to 90 days in the past. And that's going to be welcome news for their partners. Lenovo, like a number of different hardware manufacturers, has a financing program they do in partnership with DLL. Folks who qualify for that program are going to get a 30-day extension to their credit terms. So most of Lenovo's DLL partners have 60-day terms right now. That's going to get bumped up to 90 days. Like I said, this is all basically through June 30th, the first quarter of their fiscal year. They are absolutely open to extending beyond that. The way Rob Cato, their North American channel chief, put it to me is, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't really know what conditions are going to look like come the end of June, but we'll obviously be monitoring that continuously. And if our partners need more of this, we'll do it past June. So we'll see how long this goes. Without getting into the details, I'll just point out that HP made very similar announcements this morning, including a flat rate incentive plan. HPE has some financing and leasing offers that they're announcing today, Microsoft. So this is something that we're seeing now from the big vendors as well as the big distributors, and it's all really designed to keep partners afloat out there right now, because these companies need their partners. They need them now, and they're going to need them when conditions start returning to normal.
Yeah, and it's kind of expected now, right? That some of the early distributors and vendors kind of led the charge here. So now everybody's following suit, Rich. What I thought was especially interesting in light of some discussion that we had, I think, 2 episodes ago when we were talking about tips to help MSPs and their customers weather the coronavirus, storm. One of the tips that we talked about was having bundles ready to go for your customers, so that if you've got to, equip a remote workforce, have it very easy and ready to go, so your clients can just go ahead and select from, a bundle of different, hardware, laptop, VoIP phone, headphone, things like that. And in the article you wrote on Channel Pro Network about this particular topic, Lenovo is also dropping the price of hardware, making it easier for us as resellers and MSPs to actually promote those to our clients, and then extending terms to us so that we can make that easier to go as well. So I thought that was a nice aspect of the story.
Yeah, and I'll talk very quickly about that, but there are two bundles in particular, work from home kind of bundles that Lenovo put together, both of which combine a ThinkCenter Nano PC, like a compact PC, with a Lenovo monitor plus support and optional accessories. And you're right. So if you pay for that, like right now, if somebody hears about this and they want to get in on this right away, you can pay for it upfront in cash at a discounted price. But within about 30 days, they're also going to offer device as a service pricing on that. So if you don't want that to be a capital investment, if your end user doesn't want that to be a capital investment, starting within about a month or so, it's going to be something that you can pay for on a subscription basis instead. And that too will be very helpful from a cash flow perspective.
Yeah, boy, too bad they can't light that up right away when we need it now, right? So, okay, well, and what do you think, Rich? I mean, I'm seeing all of these adjustments by the distributors and vendors to make it much easier for MSPs to engage and track, their commissions and things like that, and also for their customers to engage. I mean, I just can't help but think, boy, it took this for these folks to take action to make it easier for everybody to do more business together.
It is interesting, and that line of thought occurs to me in a lot of other areas as well. Just before we started recording this, I was recording the latest episode of the ChannelPro Weekly podcast that I do, and we were kind of talking. I mean, obviously, what's foremost on people's mind right now is the economy and the recession that we're in, and we're going to have to deal with for a while. But we were talking as well about opportunities that will be there for Channel Pros coming out the other side of that recession. And what we were talking about in particular is that, we knew even before any of this happened that at some point in the future, businesses were going to go all in on the cloud, and you were going to see more remote work and a lot of a digital transformation, if you will, of that sort. And now people have been forced to do that by these stay-at-home orders, and they're discovering all of a sudden that, this actually works. I want more of this. There's going to be a lot of opportunity in cloud computing later on when people are really kind of in a position to spend. But it's sort of a similar kind of thing. It's like it took this push in a way to accelerate that process. And in some ways, it took this push to maybe get some of these vendors to look at some of their policies and procedures and think, boy, we could actually make this a lot easier.
So I'm thinking of the great MSP meme with Al Pacino talking about how they, finally, they decided they were not going to support home users. And just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Well, now, speaking of work from home, Eric, your tip of the week has to do with one of the many challenges a lot of folks out there are dealing with right now. The MSPs and VARs, they're all working from home now as well, and that poses some interesting management challenges. And I think you had one in particular that you wanted to dive into this week.
Yes, I think that this is a great opportunity, and this is from speaking with my clients this week, Rich, as many of my business tips of the week, emerge from is working with actual clients. And some of our clients are unfortunately, invested in specific verticals where there is no work, i.e., automotive, the automotive industry and things like that. So what are they doing with their staff when a big chunk of their business kind of is on pause right now? And I'm not talking about, the negative effects of revenue and things like that, and having to negotiate and things like with our clients, which we would do to help them through this. But it's these technicians and staff that they still want to remain on the payroll so they can qualify for, some government benefits and things like that down the road. What are we doing with the staff? Here's a great opportunity to invest back into online training and certification and things of that nature. So if you've got staff that has time to give, and not all of us do, right? But those of us that do, because of this kind of a slowdown, let's reinvest in our teams and let's get them back on track to, accomplish some of these certifications and competencies that, always seem to be, a hope and a dream for the technical team to achieve. Now, maybe it's a good time to redirect that downtime away from, Tiger King and, other streaming services that could be a distractor, and get folks, focused on improving themselves and improving the organization when we all come out of this.
Yeah, it's great advice. I mean, idle time as a business owner is never good news, but how you use that time really does make a difference. And so, yeah, this is an opportunity. Again, my co-host on the ChannelPro Weekly podcast is Matt Whitlock. He and his wife are, cleaning out their basement now. It's something they've wanted to do for years. They've never had the time. Now there's nothing else to do. That's a home life kind of example of something that from a business standpoint, people can do as well. The stuff that you just have never had the time for, you may have some time for now. And now is a great time to invest in your people, invest in your business, and get some of that stuff done. Because again, there are going to be opportunities out there when we get past the difficulties that we're in right now, and you want to be ready to go with your business operating at 100% when that time comes. Well, that leaves us with time for just one more story this week, and I'll just preface this by saying a few episodes ago, at the very end of the show, somehow or another, the two of us got on to the size of our toilet paper stash, like how many months worth of toilet paper we had. And I remember thinking to myself afterwards, if you had told me 3 months ago, 2 months ago even, that it might make sense for us to be talking about toilet paper on the show, I would have said you're out of your mind. Sign of the times, right? This is all anybody talks about. So our final story this week comes to us from UPI, one of the big wire services, and I'll just read you the headline here. Imagine this being in the news a few months ago, and I'll point out something else interesting about it as well. The headline reads, "Truckload of toilet paper burns in Texas highway crash." This is now news. There was a truck accident in Texas on I-20 near the I-45 interchange in southern Dallas County. You will be relieved to know that the driver is 100% safe and fine. That was not in the headline. You had to read the story to find out nobody was injured in this, because the headline was all about that truck's precious cargo, the toilet paper, much of which, I am told by the story, has unfortunately burned, which then just leaves me to wonder if the firefighters grabbed a stray unburned roll here or two and brought it back home.
Making it all that much tougher to try to find precious toilet paper in our retail establishments. Oh, I can see why, there's, people are concerned. It's like, oh no, the big news is we've just lost a load of toilet paper, and just, more freaking out. And I love that, we were tying it back a couple of episodes ago when we talked about the online toilet paper calculator. Search it, folks, and determine how you're doing. And are you okay?
Unbelievable. These times we're in are strange in so many ways. That is absolutely one of them. And that is, speaking of time, that is all the time we have this week for this episode of the 5-Minute Roundup. We very much thank you for joining us. If you like the show, you might want to take a look at some older episodes, keep up on the new episodes as they become available. What you want to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube and subscribe to that. Make sure you click that little bell if you want to get a notification when a new episode does go up. To read more about news from Lenovo and HP and these other vendors that have relief measures in place right now, and just to get great business growth strategies for your company, your destination should be channelpronetwork.com. We have got awesome new content for you going up there every day. To learn more about Erick and the work that he does with his clients, please go to ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, all the time we've got this week. We will be back again with another episode for you next week. Until then, folks, I know it is not always easy, but please enjoy the rest of your week. Erick and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.